So welcome to another Making Digitals Your Own episode. I think my last one is quite a few months ago. We are working in my first planner for 2024 in the very last part of the last signature, so it is getting increasingly difficult to work in this chunky junk journal planner, but I'm enjoying it so much. And today I'm going to create something for this page right here. So for this month of April, I'm using my Feathered Friends kit. You can find all the links below. And the first thing I need to do is to erase this part, because otherwise I will not be able to work in it. Then I'll also take some washi tape to temporarily secure this so it doesn't flop around. So I have my ephemera here. I've already cut into it, as you can see. And today I want to use this large envelope right here. This is Feathered Friends ephemera page number 6. So I'll just cut that out by hand. I have printed this on 180 GSM matte photo cardstock. Actually, for envelopes, I usually prefer using just regular copy paper. I guess I was not thinking when I printed this one out, but it will be fine. Thank you so much to all of you who have purchased this kit. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the theme of the birds. This kit for me has such a tranquil vibe. By the way, I have a playlist of the other Making Digitals Your Own videos linked below in case you have missed those. These are the videos where I put more effort into making something special with my ephemera. I don't always have time to do that, but every time I do, it makes me so happy when I go through the planner later and see all the details that I have added. The scoreboard is not necessary, but it does make things easier with the folding. So I'll do one crease here for the flap. And the other flap. And I'm not sure yet where I want to make the folds here, so I will do that without the scoreboard. So I think that will work nicely. So next, obviously, I want to ink up all of my edges. I always go for walnut stain. Let me know what your favorite Distress Oxide or ink is to ink up your edges, or if you don't like your edges inked up. Then I don't want to leave the inside white like this. I just don't like the look. So I'm going to add a vintage book page on the inside like that. So I'll just add some glue stick. And then we can just cut off the excess. And then we re-ink that inside edge. And I also like this crease on the inside here inked up. Next, I want to make this cute bird stick out just a little bit more. So I want to add some metallic accents to him. I'm going to use a combination of Distress mica stains. I have peppermint stick and snow flurries here for the blue here and the red here. And I'm also going to use this very light gold here for the white parts, just a few accents. Let's start with the peppermint stick. I'll put some here. Oh no! Do you see this? I already splattered the whole thing. Thankfully, it's fine, but please be careful. So I have a jar of water here, and I just want to add a little bit of red here to so that we have some nice metallic shimmer. So you see that? That is dry. So let's add a little bit of the blue, but let's not waste that. Let's add some water to it. And then I'll just take a coffee dyed strip of paper and put that in. Who knows what we can use that for? That actually looks pretty cool. Moving on to the snow flurries. This time I'll use the nozzle. I think I need a more narrow brush. Okay, I'm going to try this thin one here, because I don't want to cover everything. Again, I'm going to soak up that beautiful mica stain. And lastly, let's add that light shimmery gold. Oops, why is that red? No! Okay, he has some pink cheeks now. Actually, that's kind of cute. Not what I was going for. Let's try this again. And then I also want to add that light spot in his eye, because it's not really showing up enough for me. So I'm using this white acrylic paint marker. This is by Passimo. Yeah, that's better. So we have a nice shimmery bird now. Then I also want to add a sentiment to this. I'm going to choose one from this collection by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. It's called Noteworthy with the number CMS 446. And I'm choosing the one that says Be Fearless, because that's what we sometimes have to be in our creations. That's what I did right here. I had no idea if this would ruin my envelope or not, but I wanted to try it out. So I'm stamping it on this part of the book page, which of course has the perfect color. The good thing with using digitals is, of course, that if you actually mess up and you're so unhappy with it that you think it can't be saved, you can always print another copy. Yep, I think that needs to go right there. Does it need something underneath? Do we want it to stand out a bit more? How about either a gray-green or black background to make it come out a bit more? The green fits perfectly with this gray-green there. That is really nice and harmonious. Or we really want it to stand out and we give it a black border. No, that's too harsh for me in this case. Let's ink that up as well. Yeah, that is very harmonious. I just want to explain why I don't like it here. Usually my go-to place for putting sentiments is bottom right of the image. But in this case, it doesn't work for me because I have the feeling everything is on this side and it's not balanced. Actually, we need to look at it like this, like that. So for me, this is not balanced, but by putting it here, I now have a focal point on this half and I have a focal point on that half. So for me, that looks a lot more balanced. I also want to add a little more texture. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and instead of sewing around it like I usually would, although I might actually sew, I might either just sew on the flap or I will actually sew around it. Just changing my mind as I speak. But I also want to sew like a zigzag stitch maybe along here, which will of course then be covered up by this flap. So it's great not to glue everything immediately before you know what you're actually doing. So then this happened. I don't have a very fancy sewing machine. It does, however, have a few decorative stitches, which I never use, but this is super cute. I have a Toyota Super Jeans sewing machine, which is great for thicker materials like jeans, for example. And I'm just realizing I should do this more often because this stitch is adorable. And if you don't have a sewing machine and you want a decorative edge, you can obviously use some decorative stamps to go around your envelope. And then here I just added some messy stitching underneath the sentiment. I'm really, really happy how this is turning out. Now I'm thinking of maybe adding a button. I don't know if I like this. I thought this might look better than it does. Kind of looks lost. No, I'm not loving the button idea, but what I do love is that this turned pink and now it actually looks more like a she. And because of the black feathers around her eyes, it looks like she has long eyelashes. She is really adorable with the pink. I'm so happy that that happened by coincidence. Another happy accident. I'll just leave it as it is and glue down these flaps. I never like flaps that just open like this on their own. I want them to stay closed. So the obvious thing is to add a magnet, but since I don't want it seen, let's add another sentiment on here so that we can add the magnet underneath. So I'll stick to the same font, same collection. How about we say shine brightly? So we have Be Fearless and then Shine Brightly. I think those go together really well. Using that vintage book page again. And we need to mount this again because this is too thin. You would see the magnet underneath. We probably will also see it through the cardstock, but maybe not quite as much. This way we get to have another little surprise sentiment when we open the envelope. So I have these tiny magnets from Amazon. They are 3 millimeters wide. Whoops, they get lost very easily. Okay, that one is gone. Maybe it probably went inside here again. They are so strong. I have a hard time getting them apart. It's kind of nice. They love sticking together. They really stick up for each other. Okay, we have one. So let's put it far enough down so that the sentiment looks good. So maybe like right there. And then we'll glue this on top. There is a bit of a bump, but it's totally fine. I would love to put it underneath here. It would have been awesome if I wouldn't have glued that down now, right? What did I say before about thinking about what you want to do before you put it together? It comes at no surprise to me. I know usually you could just put a marker here and then you'd have the mark on this side, but I don't want the mark showing here. I need to glue it from the other side. Maybe in pencil? I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but this way I have approximately an idea. It needs to go here. Can I still take this apart without tearing it? Just a little bit. I'm kind of eyeballing this. Oh, and it should probably be the right direction, right? So it's this way. Okay, we have it in there. So adding a piece of tape, like a regular translucent tape over that. Have our fingers crossed that the magnet is still in the right direction. And it's not. Look. Oh no, Barbara. This is not a tutorial. In case you haven't realized. Turning the magnet around. Oh, it also doesn't work. Why? Is maybe too many layers, but These are so strong. I don't get it. Interesting. It doesn't go through 3 layers. Okay, that's really not good. So that means we have to put it on the outside here. Okay. Adding another sentiment over it is too much. Oh, and I was just thinking I could put this over it, but if I put this over it, I'm going to have the same issue, right? Be too many layers, because otherwise I could have put it behind as well. So that's not going to work. So let's try a piece of fabric. We like adding textures, so this might be perfect. Let's see. No, what? Is it the glue? What is happening today? No, I didn't do it wrong. I don't understand. Okay, let's try a new magnet. Maybe there's just too much glue on it. Okay, I'm going to try this again. I'll put the fabric here over the other magnet. And then, look, it works perfectly. So what's the issue? The spot is totally the correct spot. Let's try this again. I don't know what's happening. Would actually be really nice to sew around this piece, but it's too late. I put glue on it. Okay, fingers crossed. Nope, it's not sticking. What? I'm really at a loss now. So that is clearly a fail. I'm going to re-glue these flaps. I want to move on. Going to do something a lot simpler by just adding a paper clip and be done with it. Let's add some cute fabric onto the paper clip. The paper clip. I'm really at a loss for why this happened. But we will not let that hinder us from having a fun crafting experience. We're just going to adapt and find a different solution. So there. Now I'm just wondering if I should add something else here in the front. So I have these storks. They would work beautifully. What else? We have this one that's too big. We have this round one that's too big, and this is too big. Okay, let's go with the storks. And I also want to give this one of the gray-green borders. I have inked it up. Okay, so there's our envelope. It's all good. So that will go on this page here. And I want this to be held by a belly band, a horizontal belly band. I do have a belly band here, which I could just cut down. Not sure if it's too many birds. So this is what that would look like. As you can see, I've also done some messy sewing on the ends, so that looks like it's sewn on the page. I think it would go because the birds are covering up the storks, so that way we don't have too many birds. So that's one option. The other option is, I just remembered this weekend, my BFF and I went to a small flea market and I found a little bit of lace. And look, can you see these have swans on them? How perfect for this month. So the other option is to just have the lace. And then I would have a little bit peeking out there. Or it's kind of a pity to cover up the swans, but I also like the combination of the lace and the birds together. No, actually, I'm not doing that. Let's just use the lace. That's how we like it, right? And I'm going to glue this on while my envelope is inside, just to make sure that the envelope has enough space. And then maybe we could add either this one or this one on top. I think I'll go for this one because this does not completely cover up the swans. We can still see that there's swans underneath. So this time I will take the envelope out and put something non-stick underneath so that we don't stick this to the envelope. And then maybe we could add some gold thread underneath. Let's wrap it around our fingers. And then bunch them together in the middle, kind of like a bow. How would that look? Not very good. Okay, I think we need to randomly bunch it up, which is pretty difficult with this gold thread because it is quite stiff. Yeah, so it needs to be a little more random. So there's our gold thread. It's more random this way, yeah. It's cute, it's a very subtle accent. And finally, I need to add something into my envelope to add my to-dos onto. And I want to use one of these 4 tags. This is page 1 of the Feathered Friends ephemera. I love all of these, but I think I'm going to go with this one because this one just omits such a peaceful vibe to me. It really, really speaks to me. So I've cut it out, inked it up, and I want to back it with the same cardstock that I've been using. It's this mixed media cardstock in gray-green by Claire Fontaine. And it has 250 GSM or 115 pounds. And I'm going to stamp an image on here just for a little bit of interest, even though I'm going to be writing over it. So I need it to be light. And I want to use one from this very special stamp set by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz, which is the first stamp set ever. And it's called Nature's Moments CMS 001. And this was gifted to me by my dear friend Louisa Heinzel. Now you would think I'm going to add the bird, but I'm actually going to add this here. And I'm going to use Distress Ink Picket Fence for this. So we can add this to our envelope. Actually, I forgot something. Because we do have enough space in this envelope on top here so that we can add a tag topper. I'm going to use the same fabric that I have here and on my cover here, which is this one by Seth Apter called Possible. And I just think the colors go so well with this kit. As always, I will link my source for these designer fabrics for you below, which is a German online store called Quilting for You. The owner, Romy, has such a great selection of designer fabrics that I have rarely seen in other shops. If you're in North America, you will have your own sources, obviously. I also took it to my sewing machine again to add a wonky stitch. And finally, we're going to add some gold splatters. And of course, we'll add it to our envelope as well. And here. And once this side is dry, also on the back side, or actually the front side of this envelope. One word of caution, if you have a metallic thread like I do, please be careful with your heat tool because it will potentially melt your thread like it started doing here. So it's not as pretty as it was, it's still fine. Just be careful. So this is our envelope. There's the inside. We have a useless piece of fabric here, but that's okay. There is our gold splattered tag. There's the back side. This can now go in here, ready to note my to-dos for this week. And that will close with this paper clip and live in this belly band. So have fun playing with this or any other digital kit you might have and just make it your own. Love you guys. Mwah! Mwah!